Hello friends, welcome to episode 244 of the Noclip podcast. It's a Crewcast, the whole crew is here. The J-Dogs are back. Oh my lord, wow, it's all happening. Frank Howley, what's your favorite dog?
The Shiba Inu.
Good pick, classic pick.
We have one that lives on the street. I've seen it chase my goats. That was pretty dope. Next time it happens, I should call you around. You should come over. It's a good time. Jesse Grasha, what's your favorite farmyard animal?
Farmyard animal. I love me a good cow. Highland especially, the ones with the long coats. Very beautiful creatures. I want to hug one.
Fuzzy Boys. Is that why you like that? What was that game again? We did the indie rec on?
Hurdling. Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it, but I did feel quite close to them, even though I purposefully killed one for fun.
You don't have any pets, do you?
Yeah, I have a dog. Yeah, Winston.
You got a dog? You have a dog called what?
Winston.
I did not know you had a dog called Winston.
I feel like I've said that a couple times.
Did you guys know you had a dog called Winston?
I feel like now that you say it, I feel like I knew it, but that could just be me giving myself too much credit.
It's all right.
What type of dog is it?
It's a golden doodle.
Shiba
We gotta
Inu?
see pictures of it. I want to see
Yeah,
pictures.
it's true.
Of
I
it.
think I've posted.
I've seen a
I'm
picture
hiding a
of
dog
social
on his
I've
dog.
seen a
Yeah.
golden doodle.
Yeah, I've seen one. You've seen one. You've seen them all. They're pretty similar.
I can
How old is
imagine what
Winston?
Winston would look like.
Winston's 8 years old.
8 years old. It's
He's an
pretty
old
good.
boy. He's a good boy though.
I have a 17-year-old cat. Don't be telling me about old boys.
Okay. All right.
It's got no
What's in a
teeth.
competition?
It's got everything is competition, Jesse.
Okay.
Haven't you seen YouTube? It's all a competition. Everyone's views are going down at the same time. It's all happening. YouTube apocalypse is happening. Jeremy, what's the worst? What would be the best apocalypse to be part of?
The best apocalypse?
The best apocalypse. What apocalypse do you think would be an improvement on the world in which we currently inhabit?
We get some sort
Try
of
and do this without committing fantastical genocide.
we get some sort of like some sort of economical situation where everybody is taken care of, nobody has to work anymore, and then a scientist invents a drug that feels better than any other drug but is totally harmless. And the apocalypse is just that everyone becomes so hedonically satiated and pointless.
Okay.
That, like there's nothing else that is worth doing except doing the drug.
Just constantly writhing in pure bliss with no economic or health implications.
Yeah, like even reproduce, like sex isn't even worth it anymore. So the human race dies out because it's just like, why would I do that when I could smoke, whatever.
Is that
the
kind
day-
of
What are
Brave
we
New
calling
World?
it? We need to make up this drug.
I don't know. They have a lot of sex in Brave New World, but I don't know if they copulate.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But the
The drug would be called fuck it all, but it would be ITOL, like a pharmaceutical.
What are the side
Beautiful.
effects?
The side effects are bliss.
Side effects of fuck it all include
Having a good time.
having a good
Love and
time,
life.
constantly
Being
orgasming.
chill as fuck.
Exactly. Well, you can be chill as fuck. If you subscribe to Noclip 2, do it now, folks. It's happened. It hasn't happened at the time of recording, but by the time of recording, we'll have announced and launched Noclip 2, our video game coverage wing, the militant wing of Noclip, as I've been sort of calling it on my mood boards. Yes, we are. We're getting out there. It's been years and years of testing stuff out on Noclip Crew. Just at least a year of us like hardcore brainstorming what this thing would be and what's the right way to tackle this whole thing. There was a chance it could have been called something else at some other time, but keeping it within the Noclip family seemed to make a lot of sense. And yeah, in case you haven't watched the announcement video yet, it's effectively us putting it out there to do a breed of games coverage that we think is important for the industry in the same way that 9 years ago. By the way, happy 9th birthday, Noclip. It is our birthday today. Woohoo! Yeah, let's not clap too loudly, guys. Yeah. Frank didn't even put his hands up. Come on, let's get that.
I don't want to
I
peek
don't know if we do noise pollution in the mic. I feel like I would
9 more years.
my mic.
Let's go.
9 more years. 9 more years.
And then what?
Be as
One
old-
more year.
We'll be
That's
as old
it.
as my cat. Exactly. 1 year and then let's wrap it up. You know?
Decade, that's good enough. You tried your
That's when The
best.
Simpsons peaked.
Exactly. Yeah, that's us right now. So yeah, like 9 years ago, tried to think up something that no one else was doing that, you know, I thought was important for the industry, and it seems like it is somewhat important, at least to the people in our community, to document all this stuff. And similarly, I think games coverage needs to have a bit of a shake up as well. And instead of following the trends, we're going to try and create a new one. And that is focusing a lot of attention on games that sort of espouse a sort of game design and development philosophy that we think is healthy and good for the industry, an industry that perhaps is stagnating in ways that is going to affect us all. Highlighting those games, putting in the work to discover, developers who are working on interesting stuff, celebrating big games that also take big swings, you know, from big studios, and getting out there on the streets and covering not just, you know, previews of these games and getting out and talking to people about these games, and instead of focusing on the numbers and the Steam reviews and the sales of these, like attacking these games from a position of what we like about them artistically and how they make us feel. And similarly with previews, talking to developers from that perspective, not talking to them about it from an angle of like, why, you know, who's this game for and what's its genre, but like, where did this come from? What's the motivation behind this mechanic? Like, what about your older games influenced this? Yada, yada, yada. Like the stuff that is like important about games development design. It just gets swept under the rug in a sort of the numbers based conversations that we constantly have. And on top of that, games culture, like what's going on in the world of, we're so inundated with stories about what's happening in game or what's happening around the world via not just YouTube, but like social media and the shortening of social media video and stuff like TikTok and Instagram. And it can give you this idea that you've got sort of a 24/7, 360 or 360 degree view of what's going on in culture all the time. But what's happening is we're just getting this weird funnel again. It's everyone's chasing the algorithm. So what is actually going on out there? What are people playing? What's going on in your local DDR arcade? You know, what's it like on the street? You know, and I think I think as people who produce video, we're in a really good position to do this, and we're gonna give it a go and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, we try to break new ground and make a new type of games coverage. And if it does, then hopefully we can have some sort of positive effect and trickle effect on not just, the industry, but maybe on the way people report on games, maybe the way studios are able to market their stuff, whatever it is, like just nudging the industry in a way we think is positive. So yeah, if you want to follow us along on this journey, youtube.com/noclip2 or whatever they do at noclip2. Just type noclip2 into Google and you'll get it. In fact, if you type noclip crew, it probably still comes up. If you're subscribed to 2, you're subscribed to or crew, you're subscribed to 2. Also, we're going to be obviously doing a Patreon for this, but one of the big pushes we're doing on our Patreon is the free tier. We're going to be doing a monthly newsletter / magazine type thing, which is basically going to collect up all the games we think that are worth wishlisting, all the games that we think are out now that you can play demos of, or out now in early access or past 1.0, articles and podcasts and other stuff that we have from outside the world of Noclip that we think are worth checking on as well. And again, just trying to get information and get stuff out there that we think is positive and important, and I think is going to be way more important in the next 5 years. I think the enshittification has continued, but I think it is getting weirdly closed in ways that we maybe threw all our lot in on social media, and now that stuff doesn't work, a lot of the communities and small communities that we used to be part of back in the good old days where you went to websites and BBSs and stuff like that, I think we're going to start pulling back to that. So we want to be part of like, you know, a community of people who cares about this stuff, and we want to be able to share what we think is important and work with the community on that too. Like there's loads of initiatives and ideas we have for the channel and the Patreon and everything else to do that sort of stuff. So we are doing the Patreon as well. Like I said, like this has been a 4 or 5 year process of putting this whole thing together in a way that was not just, I just hate the idea of doing a second Patreon for something, unless it has like a genuinely different mission to Noclip and is something that we think, we can really make do with people's funding. We already own the cameras. We already have the staff. We already have the name recognition on Noclip. It's just a case of us being able to put budget to the side. For the past 2 years, I've been funding this out of my pocket on the Noclip crew side. So this is basically a way to make it so that this stuff can be sustainable, but also expand, obviously, what we're doing. Crew is just sort of a place we were kind of playing around on for the past few years, trying to figure it all out. So patreon.com/Noclip2 if you're interested at all. There are 3 tiers on there. It's pretty simple. $5 gets you access to bonus podcasts, bonus videos, and bonus articles every month. $10 is going to get you early access, and we're going to do community game nights on that one as well, I'm pretty sure. And then 30 is for your name on the credits on stuff on Noclip 2 as well. And we're just going to launch with that and see how we do, and then like build our community. If you're the other option as well is if you're a member of Noclip 2 or Noclip, you get access to the Noclip Discord. So that'll be on all the tiers as well. So you can join us on there. It's still a closed Discord group, but we're going to be using it more than ever to accrue feedback, to surface games, to help with the discovery stuff as well. And then if you're a developer, we're going to announce this probably in the next couple of weeks, because I don't want it to be overshadowed by the announcement of Noclip 2 writ large. But there's going to be a couple of things that we want you to do if you want us to cover your game, or if you want help in getting your game's name out there. One of them is that there is a submission form up on the noclip.video website. If you go to noclip.video and then click on submissions, there is a form that you can fill out, which basically is like name, email, the name of your game, a brief description of you, your team, the game, your story, and if you have a key somewhere to put the key for us to actually play it. That's going to be one way that we ask people to just let us know about the games that they have out there. We're also going to have the email address submissions@noclip.video. And then on top of that, we are going to be opening up this podcast to not advertising, because we never do ads on this podcast, and we likely will never do ads, but we're going to be opening it up. So if people who have games want to record their own short, funny ads for their games, we will be using a section on this podcast to highlight probably the best 1 or 2 of those every week, and then we'll probably throw the rest of them that get sent in, if there are any more, in on the end of the podcast as well. Just as a way of, again, opening up us and Noclip and everything we do more, it being more of a community, a place that folks are exchanging games and ideas and all that sort of stuff. My dream is to eventually open it up where we can really have people within the community writing articles and recommending stuff and doing that the type of thing as well. But if that's something, we're going to have to build to it. And then on the selfish side as well, I'm excited to, hopefully, it all depends on how the push goes for this, but get back to the world of recording op-eds. I know Jeremy's very interested in doing stuff like that as well. Reporting opinion videos in more indie recommendations, like Jesse's been doing, and all that stuff. So go check out the video. If you go check out the trailer, if you're interested in what we're doing, and just like follow us on Patreon and get access to that newsletter. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, do all that sort of stuff. Help us get up to. It'd be great to get up to 100,000 subs by the end of the year on that channel. And if you believe, like I do, and I think some of the folks here do as well, that games coverage is essential, but has to be worthwhile in and of itself. It can't just be chasing views or behind the trend. It has to break ground and show people what's important, rather than sort of asking, is this important? Then please support us on this this new journey of Noclip 2. And there you go, folks. I did it. The spiel is over. Shall we talk about Silksong for 2 hours? Is that what we're doing today?
I guess. I don't know.
What's the plan?
Yeah, we're covering small indie games. That's our big focus here at Noclip and Noclip 2 is to highlight great projects people have never heard of. Silksong, the sequel to Hollow Knight, is here.
Yeah, so we're not doing an indie recommendation video of this one because it seems probably self-evident that everyone was playing it over the weekend. Who's played it on the team? I've played maybe 90 minutes of it. I actually have code for Ghost of Yotoi, so I've been playing that.
Is it Yotoi or is it Yote?
Yote. It's probably
Okay.
Yote. Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to defer to basically any of you on that one. I think I'm the least knowledgeable Japanese speaker here. I can't talk about it yet from a quality perspective. The embargo is not for, I think, a couple of weeks. But I've been playing the hell out of that. So I don't have too much to say about Silksong. Who's played the most here, maybe?
Probably Jesse.
Yeah?
Probably me. That's crazy.
How much have you played?
Steam says 2.5 hours.
Okay.
There's no possible way I've only played 2.5 hours. I've played it for like at least 6.
Oh, all right.
So
I've played probably about 3 hours.
Okay. Frank, you touched it?
I haven't played Hollow Knight 1, so
Fair enough. So you don't know the story?
no.
Dude, you don't even know what happens to Hollow Knight at the end, dude. He turns into a
I
banana.
know. I think they're bugs. That's all I know. I think
That's
right?
basically
Yeah.
that's the whole story.
That's
You got
there's
it.
not much to it. Yeah.
Do I need to
Bugborn.
play?
2D Bugborn.
Do I need to play Hollow Knight 1 to appreciate Silksong, or should I dive
Ooh,
in?
that's a good question.
No.
I mean,
No?
no, but like it's a bit like you don't have to play the Yakuza games to appreciate Infinite Wealth. But
Yeah.
like, you're gonna get more out
It
of
will
it if you have.
enhance. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Dark Souls. Well, it's probably more like Dark Souls 2 than 3. It's like Dark
Yeah.
Souls 2. Except everyone hates Dark Souls 2, so forget I said that.
So it's not like Dark Souls 2.
I like Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
Silksong is out. It's here. Long awaited game. Everyone's psyched about it. I am curious. I think it's an amazing game. I also have some more complicated feelings about it and my evolving tastes as a human being since I played Hollow Knight, and sort of like how this is such an amazing game, but I feel different about this type of game maybe. But I'm curious how you guys feel about it before I get into the more like gray area.
Yeah, I think I share a similar feeling to you, Jeremy, because like Hollow Knight Silksong, for people who somehow have missed this over the last 7 years, has been in development for a long time. It was originally supposed to be a DLC for the first Hollow Knight. It was included as a backer reward for Kickstarter, or I think they did it on Kickstarter.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Are there people who are getting codes for Silksong based off of
Yes.
Kickstarter?
Yeah. And I think
funny.
the case is, I'm not 100%, but I think it was supposed to be a Wii U release because it's so old. So
Wow.
people are getting Switch codes instead of Wii U codes.
Oh, that's too funny.
Which is, I think that's pretty funny. But yeah, it's finally here. It has become a much bigger thing. It's obviously not a DLC for the first game anymore, which did get a ton of updates on its own. This is a full-fledged sequel to Hollow Knight at this point, where you're playing as Hornet, a sort of Zero, I guess, or not Zero. Who's the Mega Man rival character?
Are you thinking of Proto Man?
Proto Man, yeah, sort of that sort of character. Is Zero right?
I don't know. Proto Man always
Zero
seemed
is
a
the
little
final
more evil.
boss in Quake 3, so that's
okay.
clearly what you're referring to.
For
Duh.
Zero,
My
I
bad.
think aesthetically and tonally is probably more similar to Hornet, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
That makes more
I could see
sense.
Proto Man though, because Hornet, you like fight Hornet in Hollow Knight, so
Yeah. But yeah, so you're playing as essentially a sort of rival character from the first game, who now has their own story and their own different mechanics in terms of combat and also exploration. This time around, it's like way better. I think this is like it feels so much better to me gameplay wise. Combat feels better. I like exploring the world more. I think it looks better. Obviously, it's the second game, so that's bound to be the case in most cases. But I'm having a real good time with it. I think it's a lot harder as well. A lot of your combat is focused on the needle, which is Hornet's main weapon. It's pretty similar to the one you have in Hollow Knight. It's not super long. You start off in a Metroidvania sort of gameplay style where it's that 2D platformer with areas that you can't reach until you get a different item or power up. You'll eventually know what they are. Some of them are the jump is slightly too far, or there's a door you can't open. And part of the joy of the game is exploring and finding shortcuts or new paths, and fighting really hard bosses. This is sort of in that, I guess, Dark Souls, is that annoying to say? Adjacent realm of combat where you're fighting things over and over again. You have resources that get dropped after you fight and lose to an enemy if you do. And when you go back, you can pick those resources back up. So it has that sort of mechanic there. And then the combat, like I said, is it escalates fairly quickly in terms of challenge, just because they keep throwing new mechanics to you that are part of fighting. I think, honestly, I'm not that far, so I don't want to speak too broadly on it, but I think the opening hours of this game are so much stronger than Hollow Knight. I feel like the pacing is just like unrelenting. It's so quick, and yet also they deliver so much information in that time. It's like everything has so much detail to it. It's so beautiful, but also like subtle in a lot of its communication of different things. Danny, you've only played the first like 90 minutes. What did you think of that opening?
Yeah, I think to me, we've talked about this on the podcast about a lot of people really like Hollow Knight because I think they played it pretty early, or maybe I think I kind of came to it a bit later, and I played maybe more games that had been inspired by it. So it didn't like sweep me off my feet like it did a lot of people. And maybe I think just in terms of silly things like camera position and aesthetic, like it's sort of objectively, I can tell that it's like a really gorgeous game. It just doesn't necessarily pull on my heartstrings, I think, is the thing. So it's a series that I'm sort of I have maybe appreciated from afar. I never completed the first Hollow Knight. I played a lot of it, but I never beat it. So going into this one, I was kind of thinking like, oh, I wonder if this will be the one that like pushes me over the edge, or if it's more of the same or whatever. And it'd been a while since I played the first Hollow Knight, so I watched a couple of like YouTube video essay things and gameplay on the first one to sort of remind myself, oh yeah, like it was kind of like, yeah, exploration and combat, but like not too tricky and all that stuff. What I've experienced of it so far feels like sort of Blasphemous to Blasphemous 2, where you're like, oh, they know the game they're making now. They're tightened up all the screws. There's more it's like the opening 2 hours, so what am I going to say? But it feels like it has the trajectory of, oh, I bet the boss fights in this are probably going to be more complicated but more interesting. The world stuff, I can imagine that it might be bigger or more confident. So it's hard for me to say much about it because I'm still in the intro phase of it. But I think if it's the one thing I will say is that it feels like Hollow Knight, which is, probably what people wanted. Yep. And I think if you're not somebody who played Hollow Knight before, you didn't necessarily have a massively passionate connection with it, I'm not sure this is going to do any different. So yeah, I think like more than anything, I'm really happy for them that they put out a sequel that people seem to be enjoying and that is incrementally, interesting to people who played the first one and more challenging and is giving them what they want. Because I think I was quite fearful that there was going to be this sort of narrative backlash to the whole thing with, everyone waiting for it for so long and the big story of it and the memification of the game and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, and the narrative last week, it's like super sad, and we've covered this so many times in the documentaries we've filmed. Is that like, yes, if you have a lot of resources and you can take the time to make the game you want to make, and obviously you're good at making games, which they proved on the first one, then you're in a really good position to make a strong game, and this is what's happened. So yeah, I'm glad for them. I am going to play more of it, but yeah, it's not. I'm pretty sure from the scuttlebutt from everyone playing this is not reinventing the wheel in any way.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. That's sort of my hang up with it, because there are things that I think are very, like innovative, I guess, for lack of a better word. I think the way that Hornet has a downward dash instead of just the downward slash that the what's the Hollow Knight protagonist? The Knight? Hollow? Is his name?
I don't know what his name is.
I just played the first 15 hours ago. I can't remember. Anyway.
I think it's Blinky. Is it?
I think it was John.
John Knight. Yeah.
The downward slash in Hollow Knight is like, it feels so great. It's used as a platforming element. It's sort of like one of the safer combat options if you can master it and sort of just like bounce around and pogo on enemies. Hollow having this sort of downward diagonal slash is, I feel like, is a cool and bold design decision, because in many ways Silksong is just here's some more Hollow Knight, but it's like different this time. I think the downward slash is one of the maybe like the only sort of thing that I thought was really bold about the design in the opening few hours, because you have to rewrite the muscle memory after, whatever 30 hours of Hollow Knight 7 years ago. Now having to have your sort of like safer downward thing be a more exposed move where you have to position right for the downward dash, hit it, make sure you have sufficient range to hit the enemy, bounce upward, and then you have to recorrect if you want to chain it together. So there's this sort of like dash up, move back, it's like this loop instead of just up pogoing. So I really like that. And I thought the combination of that and the opening bosses I thought were so much harder than Hollow Knight, which it wasn't like brutal difficulty. This isn't like a crazy hard game or anything, but I was surprised that a few of the early bosses like got me in ways that I wasn't expecting, or the bell bug does like 2 hits of damage every time he hits you, which I was wondering for the last week why everyone on social media was like, come on, like 2 masks of damage. I understand now. So yeah, I think there are elements of it that I can tell that they are updating the idea of what Hollow Knight is for 7 years in the future, because I think that there is an increase in sort of the skill threshold of people who play types of games like this, of what they will expect. And that's a difficult balance to strike as well, because Silksong may very well be someone's sort of there are people who are like 11 years old and they're like, what's this Silksong thing? They were like 4 when Hollow Knight came out. I think that there will be people for whom this is sort of their first action platformer, or like one of the earlier ones for them. But I appreciated the increased sort of difficulty threshold. But I do feel like I'm really enjoying this game. It's such an accomplishment. It's so beautiful. It's like it's staggering. Every screenshot I took was like, this is
be
like
mean. Just say it already.
It's not mean. And I don't. This is not at all me be like, everyone likes this game. Let me find something to say bad about it. Yeah. It feels so familiar, and there is something in a world where I have now played like Animal Well and Rain World and a lot of these sort of like action-y, puzzly platformers that take weird risks in their format, in their presentation, in their gameplay, in their mechanics. Playing something that's so straightforwardly an action platformer, it feels a little different. And there's a part of me that can't help in these opening few hours wondering if you were in a position where you had whatever, $100 million. I don't know how much money Hollow Knight made. It made a lot of money. They could take their time. They could make the game they wanted to. It is, they clearly made the game they wanted to, because they took their time with it. It is interesting to me that the choice that they made was to make a very faithful sequel instead of saying, like, we're the people that made Hollow Knight. It would be interesting to see a totally different vision from the people that made Hollow Knight instead of a continuation of that original vision. Because I also feel like the vision for Hollow Knight is sort of itself this nostalgic, the like grew up playing Super Nintendo, playing action platformers, playing Mega Man and Metroid and all these things. And the reason Hollow Knight broke out so much is because people were like, wow, it's one of those, this is like a golden age of Nintendo action platformer, Metroidvania. And so it does feel a little bit like it's like it's a great game. It feels in terms of design like it is still sort of just meditating on these ideas of game design that have been bouncing around in game designers' heads for 30 years. And so there's a part of me that's like, I wonder if there will be a page turn at some point later in this game where I'm like, wow, this is so bold and different. I anticipate probably there will not be. If you've played 30 hours of Silksong and you're screaming at your microphone right now, I will admit.
Wait until you get to Gluppo. It gets so much better after Gluppo.
When the whole game flips and you have to go upside down on the ceiling like Leap Year. That's a spoiler for a 2-hour game.
Never mind. I was going to spoil something else.
Don't spoil any longer games than Leap Year. But yeah, no, I don't know. It is so objectively a fantastically made game, but there's a part of me that's like, I wish it was a little weirder or different. And I think many people who love Hollow Knight would have been disappointed if it was. So I understand why it's not.
Yeah.
I think there are parts, at least from where I'm at, that aren't exactly life-changing experiences. They're not like making me, jump up and down like, wow, they finally did it. They made Hollow Knight 3. But like there are parts that are well executed in a way that I don't think I see a lot of Metroidvanias or a lot of action platformers, whatever genre name we want to use, doing this early. Like there's stuff that's usually like a crescendo moment in like Ori and the Blind Forest or in Blasphemous 2 that's just kind of happening in this sort of, I guess the first quarter of the game is probably where I'm at this point. It's really well executed. It's very good. I like the way that the map is handled in this one again, where it's like you're free to go wherever you want and the map sort of wraps around on itself. You don't have a map for a while as well, like in the first. So it's got that going for it, which is still great. Like, but I totally agree with Jeremy. Like I had this back and forth while playing these opening handful of hours where I'm like, this is good, but it's Hollow Knight again. Like that's great. That's, if that's all you wanted, you've been waiting 7 years, like he said, fantastic. But also the cynical part of me keeps getting worn down. Like every time I'm thinking, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, whatever. I've played 100 of these. I know this genre like the back of my hand. I'll hit a thing and I'm like, oh, dude, that was so good. That was great.
Yeah,
and then I move on
happens.
and like, yeah, exactly. Like the bottom layer or the bottom level for this game where it hits its lows is like average good. Like I have not hit anything that's made me go, this is stupid. This is bad. Why did you design it this way? And then when it hits, it's like, this is better than everything else in the genre. Like it's so impressive. I can't believe, like, obviously they've had tons of time to work on it and they can master it in whatever way that they want to. But like, even if it's not doing anything incredibly different to stand out from the genre, sometimes just doing it better than everyone else is enough. And I feel like there's only so many other games, like it's this and like Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown and Blasphemous 2 that to me feel on this level of quality. And even then, I think this in the first 6 or 7 hours is hitting more high notes than both of those games, not combined, but both of those games on their own so far.
Yeah, there's something interesting about it where it's kind of like what I think about is movie genres and how movie genres have these tightly clustered like eras where like the Western for 12 years, it's like someone made a Western and everyone was like, I could do that. Let's do that. And then they just get like better and better and better until they're sort of, or like superhero movies. There was like superhero movie sort of like saturation. And you see sort of like the Neo thing happen where it's like now they're doing like Neo Westerns or something. But I wonder, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Rain World is like the Neo Western, and then it is interesting that like this is like John Huston is like 100 years old, and he's like, I could still make the Searchers. Did he make the Searchers? I can't remember who made the Searchers. I haven't seen it since I was like 18. Regardless, it's a metaphor. I don't know. This is like a 10 out of 10 Western. I've just seen 1,000 Westerns now, so
exactly.
It's hard for me to. It's not even like cynicism. I just think it's like. I think what I like, the experience that I value from games these days is often having my sort of like preconceived notions of what a game will be shattered, or opening up a game. I just talked to a developer about this in a video that's coming out on Noclip too. So if this is relevant to you, pay attention to that channel. The idea that like when you fire up a game, if you don't know what you do in that game, that is one of the most exciting things that can possibly happen. So this developer mentioned getting a N64 from a relative and being like, oh, like Mario Kart, that's like a game. There's like cars on it. You race in that game. Oh, like Smash Brothers. It looks like they're punching each other. And then picking up Super Mario 64 and being like, I don't know what that means. And playing that game, like just exploring until sort of like things to do presented themselves. And that's the experience that I value so much in playing games. And so I feel like I will probably not have any experiences like that in Silksong. So that is sort of the thing that is tugging at me.
That's a really fantastic great way of putting it, I think, from my experience too, and largely how I sort of interact with most games these days, which is that like I can objectively see that the next Call of Duty is a really well-made game, but I have simply played so many first-person shooters over my life that it just doesn't have the same effect. And like I think that's why like these are not necessarily critiques of Silksong. They are just reflections of who we are when talking about a game like that, like the feeling I often bring it up of like the first time I brought the Unreal Tournament demo home from PC Gamer and thinking, wait, you just shoot people? There's no story? You just shoot people until you score the most kills and that's it? Like, what the fuck? And like, that's why I think so many of the games that we talk about and recommend and cover as well on the doc side are ones that are novel and interesting. You know, we did a whole doc on Immortality because it was a game that tickled us in like a way that we hadn't been since like we fell in love with games, and we fell in love with games because they were doing all these things. They were subverting our expectations, or we didn't even have expectations to subvert. We were just fascinated by this weird mishmash of media. So yeah, I'm happy for them to get it out, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited to see what they do next. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
I don't think they'll do another one of these, right? No. Like now. Yeah, it's kind of smart in a way to, like, if you did one of these games, then do another one that's like, you know, bank those two and then, you know, go maybe then. It's like you got your Joe Danger the movie, and then do No Man's Sky, you know, like number 3, rev up. Don't do it on 2. I feel like if you do it on 2, maybe you bite off more than you can chew. Who knows?
Yeah. It's also a risky proposition too, because even though I'm citing Rain World as one of these games that is like reinventing platformers, I didn't really like Rain World.
Right? Yeah.
It's like
I appreciate Rain World more than I like it. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rain World is like a John Cassavetes movie, but not one of the more popular ones. Where you're like, I'm so glad I had that experience, but like I didn't enjoy it while it was happening. Yeah. It was just like it moved me, but I was like, oh God, Rain World. But you know, Rain World is like a fucking museum piece. It's like it's an amazing game. I think games will continue to learn from it, but that doesn't mean I liked it or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I salute its achievements.
Yeah,
exactly. I know what you mean. I was thinking, like, is this going to end up on GOTY list? You know, for us, probably not. It sounds like it, because I'm not even really feeling it. Like, I like it, but I can think of 9 games that I like more than this already. Like, at least that, not like more necessarily, but like feel are more important. Like, I'm not putting this over Despelote. I'm not doing that, right? Like, I'm not even thinking about that in the conversation. That means a million times more to me. No matter how good the jumps or the stabbing is in this game, or like, oh, I got the power up that makes me turn into a ball of gas or whatever. That's not a thing. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not far enough.
For the gas.
Like that,
it's called a burrito.
Oh man, yeah, that's what happens when you have the Locos Tacos. It's it's too much cheese. I'm not like. It's, you know, you guys said a couple weeks ago, it's not changing your life. It's not like making me feel anything in particular other than this is good.
I need to feel, man. I need to feel.
And I'm not crying
if
yet.
Weed
Where's
and
the scene
alcohol
where I
can't
cry?
get me there, then video games need to.
Have you tried Fuck-It-All? It's this new drug that they just invented.
Let me tell you about smoking weed and playing Ghost of Yoko. No, I'm not allowed to say. Sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about embargoes.
I thought you were going to say you're not allowed to talk about smoking weed.
I don't know if we're...
Is that on embargo?
Is that
we
federal,
have done so much worse than talking about any of that. Go ahead.
I told a story about taking
does this
gray
podcast
area
cross
research
state
chemicals.
lines?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got people to go on Grailed. That's the most illegal thing.
We did a whole episode where I pulled up ecstasy data for video game shaper presses.
Forgot about that. Was that the public feed, or was that a
That was definitely public.
That was definitely public feed.
Cool. Awesome.
After I prepared that segment the night before, I was laying in bed falling asleep, and I had a moment of panic where I was like, what if there's like some like Swedish ecstasy mafia, and they're like, oh, he's talking about some Marios. We need to fucking get this guy, because he's like because if there was someone, they all seemed to be like video game presses from the same area, and I may have just been talking about the supply of like one group of individual criminals, and they're like, holy shit, he discovered the fucking N64 mafia.
I like the idea that that's where all like the Amiga, like the Scandinavian Amiga demo scene people went. They were like,
they started making ecstasy.
Yeah, because like they got way into clubbing, you know, post like the demo scene, and then they all just became like retro videos. It's like Gianna's sister LSD presses around the place.
There is a lot of psychedelia around that era, like the idea of games coming in through the radio waves. They're like, nothing could be more psychedelic than pirating video games off the radio, in my mind.
Beautiful. The Sega Channel was doing it right as well. That's Silksong, I guess. We talked about Silksong, folks. We did it. We're a video game podcast. It happened. Let me tell you about some of the games that I played this week.
Sure.
Because I played a lot of games, a little bit. And not all of them I want to talk about very long, but some of them I wanted to talk about a little bit. Mortal Sin came out on 1.0, which is a game... it's a first-person roguelike. I feel like I've played a few of these recently. It's a first-person like sword-based roguelike, parries and crazy art style. It looks absolutely ridiculous. Sort of about speed as much as it is about difficulty. I've not played enough of it. I need to dive a bit more into it, but I just wanted to give people a heads up. The reviews on it are pretty positive and pretty good, and it's got a sick art style to it. I'm a big fan of how this game looks. You fight a bipedal shark in a ship at one stage. It's a good time. It's a good fun time. I also played the demo of Vital Shell that came out 2 days ago. This is PS1 Vampire Survivors, so maybe PS2 Vampire Survivors. It is like a 3D. Things are spawning in. There's waves of them. They're trying to kill you, but the aesthetic of it is so aggressively it's PS2. It's early PS2 kind of looking music, like the sick drum and bass playing while you're playing. You're a mech who's walking around and killing these weird things. It costs it's not out yet. It's not out till next year, but this is a demo up. So I wanted to shout that one out. I also played Davy X Jones. Have any of you heard of this?
It's a first-person, slimy shooter, right?
Yeah, it's like a first-person story-driven, like when the first-person games were just like story games, back in the day. It's one of those, but you're Davy Jones, but you're like Davy Jones, I guess. His head and his body have become separated when he was like killed and cast down to the bottom of the ocean. So Davy is the body and Jones is the head, and you are and almost like sort of the Darkness style. You can send the head out to do things, to like collect stuff and attack things and do stuff, and the head talks. And again, it has an insane art style. But this game came out. It's like fairly high budget. It has like voice acting and like crazy well-made cutscenes and all this sort of stuff. And like I didn't hear anything about this. It's $10 on early access, so it's like an early access narrative first-person shooter. It's interesting. I'm not sure how much I love it. I don't or how much I like it. I have to play some more of it, but I wanted to bring it up because it was just a weird oddity in a game that like I did not hear about at all from anywhere. And then the game that I played the most this week, oh dear Lord, is called Road to Empress.
Oh, no way. You played that game?
I played it. So did you hear about this?
This is the wrong person to be talking about this one.
You think?
Yeah, what the hell? What the hell is this game?
Why did you not send the key?
I would have played this. I would have put 200 hours of this over Silksong. Come on.
Dude, do you know how much Frank wants to play games like this and talk about them? And it's
I know,
like,
I
don't
could do a
do
whole
that.
channel that's just this.
Why the hell did you
Silk
play this?
Road.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Dude, this is like you went to Japan without Frank and reported on how cool wrestling is. How dare you? How dare you, Danny
No, this
McGuire?
has like wuxia stuff. Tell me about this. This looks cool.
What's wuxia?
Wuxia is like
See, fake fan. He doesn't even know what wuxia is.
Wuxia is
What the hell's the
when
point?
when your dad drives over a hill.
So-
and you
When
go,
a joke goes over your
"Wuxia."
head. Whoosh.
no, but like in Hong Kong and Chinese cinema, it's like the wire fu. It's like the
Oh,
Dynasty
yeah,
Warriors era
wuxia.
martial arts. Like all that stuff.
Okay. So I've talked about the Steam porn games before, right? This is not one of those, but it follows a similar mechanic to the Steam porn games, which is that you're basically like, so the Steam like hentai games are a bunch of like screens of people, you talk, like dialogue happening, and then every once in a while you saying something, and sometimes it has a causal decision, right? And then eventually you end up having sex with a tentacle, right? So it's a story that's playing out, and you have some autonomy, and if you make bad decisions, sometimes the game goes, bruh, you made the wrong decision, and spits you back to the decision, right? That's kind of like the flow of these games. And sometimes
horny visual novel. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So this is a visual novel in the same sort of idea, but instead of static, this is self-evident to anyone who just goes to the Steam page, but for our listeners, instead of static cartoon pictures, it is highly produced Japanese film, like the type that makes Immortality look cheap. Like this looks like a prestige show that it was filmed in Japan. It is, and
I
it's
think
like
this is Chinese.
It's got to be
Oh,
Chinese.
it's Chinese? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Show how much of a fucking fake
see,
fan
told
I
you,
am.
fake fan.
Right? It is insane. So this game you play is like a they're called Karens, I think.
Oh no!
Wait, what?
Yell at the manager.
Basically, exactly.
Yell at the emperor.
Kairan, maybe. It's like courtesans, basically, like the new wave of like courtesans to come into this, like the Empress's house, and you're going to come in and you're going to become one of the helpers, basically, right, around the thing. But like, you have to make decisions. So you're just watching a movie and then you make a decision and then the thing plays out. But what I've enjoyed about this, and this has to be, I feel like I'm explaining like roguelikes or something. Like this is probably a genre of thing that I have just not really interacted with much at all. I've played some of the hentai games, right? We talked about this before, okay? I played some. I needed to know what they were about. I needed
For research.
It was for research
Whatever
purposes.
you say.
Yeah, for research. Important
The IRS
research.
got a list of itemized games that you
Oh,
played. Yeah,
I
yeah.
absolutely wrote off.
Yeah.
I can't even see what they're called, whatever they're called. So I've played some of them. So I get the sort of the general gameplay
So sorry,
moment
when
to
you
moment.
say the general gameplay, do you just mean like picking dialogue options?
It's
Like, 'cause why
it's
specifically
predominantly
hentai
visual
games for that?
novels. I
Okay,
guess
all right.
it's because visual novels, I feel like they
That's
have
for
a
losers.
There's
That's for
something very copy and paste about the hentai game subgenre on Steam, where it is almost the exact same length, amount of characters you're going to be talking to, set up. Like visual novels, I feel like have a degree of artistry in them that like this is a particular subset of those that is like weirdly, I don't know, gameplay wise boxed in or something.
Right, okay.
So these are, I have really enjoyed this because, so to let you know, the first like major decision I had to make was like this little hairpin drops on the ground and you have to say whether or not, and the Empress sees it and she wants to know who owns the thing, right? And you can either say it was yours, which it wasn't, it was someone else behind you. You can say it was the person behind you. You can say it was, I don't know where it landed, right? I made a decision and the game continued and it was like, oh, this like dialogue scene continued. And I was like, cool. And da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it turns out that I made the wrong decision, I guess, because me and this other person were like brought down into this like crypt. And I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm gonna have to escape the crypt, right? And then they just straight up like, there's like a scene where they like heat up like a heated iron, like a branding iron, and they stick it on the other woman's face. So I'm like, Jesus, this game is nuts. And I'm like, that's crazy. And I wonder how my character is going to get out of this situation, right? Because like she's next, right? And it's like classic film, like shit, and let's see what happens. No, they just fucking brand my character on the face and it comes up like fucking game over. You made the wrong call. But it was like 4 minutes earlier. I watched, it wasn't like I made the wrong call and then immediately the game like threw up a cul-de-sac. No, it had this like protracted, oh, this is what happened. This is what would have gone down. And it helps me inform the decision to make when it sent me back. And what it has is the menu system, and when you go into the game, literally shows you the entire story, each breakpoint, and where it lets you go. And you can just go back and uncover all of the different variety of things that you could do. It's kind of the point of the game, is like that you're trying to beat the story, sure, but it's also like, oh, this is what would have happened in the movie or in the game had you made this other decision. And it's like really compelling and interesting and weird. And the acting's really good. And like, it's really beautifully shot. And the production design and like, you know, this is straight up like whatever, I don't know. I was calling this Japan, so I'm not going to try and pick out which dynasty of China this is. But like, it's taking place in a temple and like the sets are good. And yeah, it's like, the makeup is amazing. Like it works. It's got widescreen support, so I don't know how they shot it, but like it straight up like looks like Panavision on my.
It's like an anamorphic video game.
It's an anamorphic video game. Yeah, it's incredible. So yeah, I have really enjoyed playing this absolutely weird game. I don't know how long it is. It's only like $8.50. The studio who made it released one previous game on Steam, but it is only available in China, I believe. You can't even buy it. And yeah, it's really weird. It's like Immortality with like a way bigger budget.
It's surprisingly
and not
the case
as
for
good,
these
I
FMV
imagine.
games. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't bet. Let me know the part. Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
But yeah, it's like an FMV game of like a really well produced FMV game, which is the opposite of what I think about when I think of FMV. I think, oh, chintzy and kind of charming because it's so cheap. But yeah, I'm like weirdly into this thing. It's very strange.
Dude, there's an endless sea of games like this. Like there's so many, I don't know how many of them have English subtitles, if at all, or any localization for that matter.
Right.
But there are a ton of Chinese and Japanese FMV games that look crazy good. Like, I think some of them are done, I'm not 100%, but Cass is really big into Korean dramas. And I think there's a couple Korean ones like this as well. And the production studios that work on those shows that are just pumping them out, and they look pretty good. Some of them work on these FMV games, which is like, that makes perfect sense that the production studios would overlap.
If you have access to a temple, shitloads of costumes, and all of these actors, this probably makes a lot of sense to like shoot what is probably a couple of episodes of a TV show and then put it out, especially. Yeah. So I assumed when I was playing this that I've stumbled into a genre unto itself, that this is like this level of FMV quality is more normal in China or something. But I've never seen any of these games. Do you guys know any other games?
There's one. It's not like the same genre or setting, but there's a game I really like called Knowledge or No Lady that takes place at a university. But I thought that one was actually like pretty charming. But it is more on the cheap side, where it's like the same IKEA apartments. But it's like I played a ton of these games, and they're all like, they're cute, they're silly, they're all very self-aware. But yeah, there's like I have like dozens of these on my wish list, and I'll buy one every few months and play through them. And like they always take like 3 to 4 hours to beat. And yeah, you can go back and choose different endings and stuff. Yeah, The Road to Empress looks more like a Game of Thrones production budget, which looks cool. Yeah.
So I think like looking at Knowledge or No Lady, that looks a bit more like visual novels as I would think of them. Whereas like there's something about the production on this where it never leaves the film. So the film will pause and an element will appear on it, and it has like a really well done playback. Like literally when you touch the mouse, the playback thing is at the bottom. You can straight up just 2x speed the game, like on like a YouTube little speed thing in the corner. Like it has, or maybe it's 1.25 and 1.5. But it seems like the production is like slick in a way that is different to some of those visual novels where it's a bit more like frame in frame, or like this is kind of a CG room cartoon and then we're going to show a video thing. Like this is all video all the time, from top to bottom. And yeah, really, really well produced as well.
The fact that they're called Kairen, which I'm now reading as Karen, because you said it, is cracking me up. Because all of the screenshots are like 5th rank Karen. One of them says Karen Wu, which sounds just like a contemporary woman's name. And then there's a screenshot of her holding a Pomeranian. So I'm just imagining she's your like wine mom neighbor. Also, I just Googled the history of Pomeranians. I don't know if they had Pomeranians in the Tang Dynasty.
Hey, come on, all right?
Any dog
some things
historians
just aren't recorded in history.
Wow.
I mean, they could have hired a dog history consultant.
Lazy
you and
devs.
your canine eugenics.
No.
Deadly soup. Look at all these amazing chapter breakdown things. I can't wait to. Yeah, it's a very weird thing. If anyone who's listening has played some more of these games, send them my way.
Frank, what was the game you recommended last week? Happy Hamster Days?
Yeah,
or something like
Hamster. I think it's called Hamster Days. That Sweet Hamster Days. That one's coming out. That one is Japanese. That one's coming out at the end of the year. That one I'm very excited.
If you're looking for another one, there you go, Danny.
But again, I feel like there is a distinction between.
Have some respect, all right?
I have nothing against the Sweet Hamster people, but like, yeah, is it just? I'm looking at it now. Is it just that these are? No, I think the other thing is that like a lot of these games, it's filmed from the perspective of the protagonist.
Yes, it's the cinematography that makes all the difference.
So that might be it, is that this is not. This is filmed like a TV show, and it just so happens that one of the characters is the one that you're making the decision for. But it's not like the characters are playing to the camera.
Yeah,
like
not talking to you. And you're like, we're not friends like that. Stop flirting with me.
Stop breaking the fourth wall. I'm sitting in the dark in my underwear eating Fritos, and I do not want to be interacted with.
Every time the screen fades to black, I cry a little bit. You can't be cute to me right now, okay?
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're right, Jeremy. It's the cinematography is a big part of why this feels different.
Yeah, because Sweet Hamster Days, it's not like the lighting or the shots are bad or anything. It's just way more of like an intentional POV thing where you're like, a woman is laying in bed and the camera is like laying in bed next to her.
Right, and also it's a woman laying in bed, which in this one, it's an empress who sits in a bed and people carry her around.
She's in a palanquin being carried around.
It's an important distinction.
What's so wrong with that? I was trying to remember
Bring
one that
back
my
the
buddy was
monarchy,
talking
says
about.
Canadian Jesse.
Yeah, come on. Is it really so bad? We had it great. We still have the queen on our money, so it's okay. Or the king now, whatever. I was trying to remember the one that my buddy was talking about that's like this. It's called Vanity Fair, The Pursuit. I don't know if it's in English. I mean,
Magazine?
it might be. Right?
Yeah, are you allowed to do that?
They finally brought it to Steam. But it has a similar thing, like the timeline. Actually, I'm looking at the screenshots. It looks like it's not exclusively shot from the perspective of the player.
Yeah, this is more like it. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Vanity Fair, The Pursuit. Look at that. Look at all these dramatic Chinese people.
Well, I can't wait for the FMV series on Noclip 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to talk about underserved games like Road to Empress. We're not really here to talk about that or Silksong. We're here to talk about the game that Frank could not wait to play.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's Golf Hot Shots is finally out. It did not change from its original release date. What are we thinking, Frank? I hear it's maybe not as hot. Maybe is it lukewarm shots? How are we feeling about it?
Yeah, this is so weird. So it's not by Clap Hands. Clap Hands is the original developer of all the Everybody's Hot Shots golf game. Again, it's also what's really funny about this game is it's called Everybody's Got Golf Hot Shots, which is like both the Japanese title and the English title together. That's like if they did like Resident Evil Biohazard or like Earthbound Mother 2. Like it's just like if they're just really just trying to cast a wide net. Like, hey, remember this? It's that. It's Everybody's Hot. Whatever.
We just want to make one set of marketing materials.
Yeah. So Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. It's like I would say it's like 70% there. It's so funny. There's less features in this game than the PS4 version, which came out like 7 years ago. So the last one that Clap Hands made, I think, was also called Everybody's Golf. Let me double check the one that came out. Yeah, Everybody's Golf on PS4. That was actually by Clap Hands. That was phenomenal. And so yeah, I was like, why haven't they made a new one since then? Clap Hands made a new golf game for Switch back in 2021. I don't know what the hell that one's called. Hold on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so maybe I need to play that one. That one is Easy Come, Easy Golf. That came out, yeah.
No
That's
kidding.
a
Terrible name.
But this looks like Hot Shots Golf, but it's only on Switch. I mean, I guess you play on Switch too. So they made that. Yeah, I guess they've still updated it. So if you look at screenshots, there's like a tour mode. There's already so much more personality in this 2021 Switch game. But Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. Bandai Namco, I think, gave it to the team that's working on some Digimon games. I looked at their previous development history, but yeah, I mean, it's the basic stuff is still there. It's chibi cute golf, but yeah, there's the features that are missing from the last one. You don't make your own character. That was a big thing that I liked about the previous Hot Shots golf games, even on the PSP one. You would customize your character. You would get new outfits. You can change stuff. I think sometimes the clothes would have different stat abilities. So it was like a big part of like, you would grind golf tournaments and get new clothes, and you would dress up and it would change your stats. Here it's a lot more simple. There's like the tiers, the beginner tracks, the amateur, novice, and you do a few missions, then you fight like your rival, and then you unlock more courses. And every time you play, you get money. You can spend that money on like stat increases. You eat food to increase your stats. So the basic progression's there, but yeah, there's just like the personality is kind of missing, and it's because Clap Hands isn't making it, but. It's still a fun game. For context, Everybody's Golf is like the chibi cute arcadey version of golf. This isn't like PGA. It's not Tiger Woods. It's not sim golf. It's cute, fun, as it's always been since the PS1 days.
But it isn't like arcadey. It's still like accurate-ish. You know what I mean? It's not like there's like power-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not all the way like Mario Golf. It's still, and this is something that's still true. It's genuinely fun. Assessing like, okay, where do I want this ball to be? What's the wind trajectory? Getting your shots. You can try to do a power shot, but your line of hitting a perfect impact is much smaller. So it's like if you change your club so you hit it shorter, you have a way more control over the ball. Things like that. When you're putting, it's still the same thing. There's the grid. I get so good at like analyzing the like chalk marks to judge the slope. I get so into that. And when you sink like a putt from like 30 feet, it's the best feeling in the world. Or you do a chip in, all that stuff is still there. I did read, like, I had to translate Japanese Steam reviews, players being like, they changed the side spin elements. What is going on? Developers, you need to patch your game. So hardcore everybody's golf players are mad at this game because I guess, like,
All right.
Like, if you've mastered this series for decades and you play this, it's like, wait, this isn't the same. So I'm very sympathetic. But if you're a casual player, someone like me, it's like, okay, I can boot it up, play a bit. I do like games like this because this is a game you can play for like 10 minutes a round and move on with your day or grind a few missions. But yeah, it's just something is like the soul of it is missing a bit. So I kind of wish that they would port Easy Come Easy Golf. Or maybe I just have to get it on Switch. But yeah, so I was a little disappointed.
Port it and rename it too.
Yeah, everybody comes, everybody golfs. Good name. So I don't know. So, but I will say it is
Hotcom Golf.
Yeah,
There you go.
it is. I think only a $40 game. Although I was looking at Steam reviews. Apparently, performance is terrible on Steam Deck, which is so funny because like this is the perfect like pick
Steam
up and
Deck. Yeah.
yeah. And so even on PS5. Frame rate was fine, and then any level that has weather, if it's raining, all of a sudden the performance is shitty, and it's like, what happened? I don't know.
That's also regular golf. I get way worse at it when it's raining. So
That's
it makes
haptic
sense.
is
feedback.
shitty.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna patch it or fix it. If this is just a budget thing they just put out, or I don't know. So yeah, it's okay, but it's Hot Shots Golf, and I like it, and I'll always get these. But yeah, I think the real thing is I just need to buy this old Switch game instead.
Yeah,
and
go
see how
check that out. Come back and fill us in on that madness.
Easy comeback.
What I actually am way more excited to hear you talk about is Cronos New Dawn. Have you played much of this? This is a survival horror game. It's Blooper Team's non-Silent Hill game, I guess. And people seem to be into it. How much have you played of what is it? Cronos New Dawn?
Yeah,
The New Dawn?
Cronos New Dawn. So this is by Bloober
Team. I always say
Bloober Team, the team that handled the Silent Hill 2 remake and the team that did The Medium, which was years ago, kind of a very Silent Hill-like puzzle game. This game is cool because it's the inverse. I wanted to like The Medium, but it's a survival horror game with all puzzles, no combat.
Right.
Now, they started development on this immediately after they finished The Medium, simultaneously as they were doing Silent Hill 2 remake. So I was curious, like, did they just how did this come out so quickly? They were simultaneous development. So Cronos is a survival horror game that's all combat, no puzzle, very little puzzles. So this is like more my lane. It is a little bit slower. It is a little bit like, I want to use the word chunkier just because this is more, I would say, like Dead Space, because it is you're shooting like when I say the Thing, I mean like John Carpenter's Thing, giant monsters with like gloops and blobs and like it's nasty in a good way, but then you have to like stomp the hell out of them. The cool mechanic with this game is as new monsters come out, they will assimilate bodies on the ground. So if you don't like stomp or burn the bodies on the ground, the monsters will get even like tougher, which is kind of like how Resident Evil 1 Remake does it with their what the hell is it called? The Crimson Head mechanic. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's it's pretty cool. The setting of this game is where I'm a little like, whatever. So again, I really like Silent Hill and Resident Evil because it's like Americana. Here, the setting is kind of a more sci-fi version of like 1980s Poland, but the story of it is the reason it's Cronos New Dawn. It's kind of got a time travel thing. This is all early setup. It's you're some unknown traveler and you're coming to assess an area and find out what happened in this area. And you're getting like Last of Us or any survival horror, getting documents of what's going on. And so you're just going through like I don't know, Eastern European apartment buildings, and like, it also kind of looks like how Half-Life 2 looks. So I'm just like, I'm so sick of this environment. I spent too much. I like it is just kind of that of just like having to do Half-Life 2 last year. We played so much of that as a kid going to Rush in the 90s. I'm like, I'm sick of this. But I'm kind of like, maybe that's better than a spaceship. If they're going for a Dead Space thing, it is very sci-fi. Yeah, so it's cool. I'm like maybe 3 hours in, but it's definitely on the needle of like, oh no, this is cool. It's a little bit slower pace, but now getting into it, I'm getting more weapons. I just fought a boss that was like genuinely intense. This has a pretty friendly checkpoint system. There are manual save states. You find rooms. I forget what they call it, but it's like, oh, you found a traveler's den. You should stock up, whatever. So it's, it's kind of like how Evil Within, which is another survival horror game I like. You have like an upgrade station, just like Dead Space. You can upgrade your suit. You can upgrade your guns. there's a cool crafting system that's not complicated. Again, kind of like The Last of Us, where you'll find either like bolts or just whatever the game's resources are, and you can choose to spend that on ammo or health. So that makes it dynamic. The game also kind of has dynamic loot. Like, oh no, I have no health items. I shot an enemy. Oh, thank you. It dropped a small health item. Like it kind of throws you a bone, so it's not too punishing, which I really appreciate. I think some of my hesitancy against playing Hollow Knight or Silksong is I just don't want to play a hard game. I'm just mentally, I'm just not in that mood right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure sometime. Cronos is the thing where it's kind of tough, but if you die, it's like, okay, you're just like 2 rooms over. So it's
cool.
It says up front too, it's like, death is a part of the experiment. When you die, it teaches you the way forward. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's there's only, I think there's English, a language option, a voice option only, and then tons of language support. Because it would have been kind of cool to play this in Poland. Is Bloober Team based in Poland? Just assuming.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure also too, if you're in Europe or in Poland, I'm sure there's like, you would recognize locations and stuff. It seemed like there was an early cutscene where there was like a very famous building. The guy's like, "Oh no, well, look what happened to this thing," and I'm like, I have no idea what that is. I'm sure that's I'm sure that's the equivalent of like our
nice. How far are you into it at the moment?
I would say 3 hours, and I just hit like a time shift, and now so it's kind of like how Silent Hill, where you go through an area and it's one way, and then something happens, and now it's different. So now it's like, oh shit, I'm really interested. So it's I'm like, oh, I'm kind of So
cool. Looks like it's about 12 to 15 hours long or something like that. Folks are saying. So
that sounds good. Yeah. So
interesting. Do you think I'll play some more before next week?
Well, it'd be a good test. It'd be a good challenge. I would like to, but yeah, I would say they impressed me. I was disappointed by the medium because it was such a cool setting in the game, but it's like I don't want to do puzzles.
Yeah,
Silent Hill 2 was awesome, good mix of combat and puzzles. This is way more combat, kind of like Dead Space. So, and I've been in the mood to play something like Dead Space or Resident Evil. So I feel like if you like survival horror, I feel like we always get at least one per fall. I think this one does hit the mark. And then, credit, I believe his name, the developer of Gloomwood sung its praises on Twitter or Blue Sky, and they're always so like dead on with the recommendations. So I was like, okay, let me check this out, and I was impressed by it. So yeah, it's good. I wish it was a little bit more faster or a little bit more speedier, but I guess it is. And the one thing it's missing from Silent Hill 2 is it doesn't have Silent Hill 2's incredible soundtrack, but it's cool. It's I would.
What is the music then? If the soundtrack isn't like banging,
kind of Carpenter synths, John Carpenter. Okay. They're going for that vibe. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it's it's kind of thing where I appreciate everything it's pulling from, and so it's like it's not like a 10 out of 10 for me, but I'm like it's like a 7 out of 10. I'm like, yeah, this is okay, cool. I again, we don't get that many games like this, so it's like I'll take it. So it's cool, and it is kind of like AAA third person, like of that speed. So it's cool.
Cronos, The New Dawn, available on lots of things, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like
$60 on Steam. It is a full price game. From the folks at Bloober Team. So thanks for giving it a whirl for us there, Frank. Any other business before we jump into emails, folks? Anything anyone wants to chat about in particular?
I would briefly love to talk about Battles Without Honor and Humanity.
Okay.
There's a genre of films in Japan that are Yakuza films. They're sort of the American equivalent would be like gangster films, or like mafia films, I guess. And I think that I've seen like a few of these. My favorite is probably Drunken Angel by Akira Kurosawa. Very good film. Early Toshio Mifune movie where he plays a Yakuza who is dying of an illness and because of toxic masculinity is like, I'm fine, let me just go drinking. And a doctor's like, no, you shouldn't do that. But I have played more of the Yakuza games since I saw that movie and have been kind of interested in this film genre because it's like, it's like if you made a mafia movie or mafia game in America, not mafia like the game's Mafia, but if you made like a Scorsese mafia game in 2025, it would draw upon all of these sort of like common tropes and ideas in the genre that people would just inherently recognize. That even if you hadn't seen like Goodfellas, you'd be like, oh, that's like in Goodfellas. And so I was curious I'm going to play Kiwami 2 soon. So I was curious to kind of like explore this movie genre a little bit. So I watched Battles Without Honor and Humanity, which is some people say it's like the Japanese version of The Godfather, or Japanese equivalent of The Godfather, essentially. It is a 5-film series about the Yakuza. It was released in the West as the Yakuza Papers. And the reason for that is that it was based on a book that a journalist put together by interviewing a real Yakuza about his entire sort of career in the Japanese criminal underground. What's interesting to me about this is that a lot of the tropes about a lot of the tropes featured in that book and then subsequently in these movies are things that became like mainstays of the genre. And I saw a ton of the Yakuza games tropes reflected in the movie I watched. But the interesting thing about it is that they're not just like sort of cultural osmosis things where it's like you hear about them. They're like that there is a sort of like a Dead Sea Scrolls origin text in these Yakuza papers in this book that is a real interview with a real Yakuza, which I thought was cool.
Cool.
So I watched the first of the 5 Battles Without Honor and Humanity films, and it was utterly fascinating. Like it's the setting.
Are they hurling bikes at people? Like when you say similar themes to the Yakuza game, like how far back are we going?
Crab coming
Yeah,
in.
there's just you ride a dolphin.
It's definitely less ridiculous. Although I will say, even though most of it is very. Also, I should trigger warning: this movie opens with horrible shit. It's a very violent and terrible movie, but it's a good movie as well. But it's so
I feel like the title of it's doing a good job to signal that.
there is no honor and there is no humanity in this film. When there were moments that had a little bit of levity, I was like, okay, I could see like a little bit of that Japanese sense of humor peeking in even in such a serious film. An example, I'll only give one example so I don't spoil a bunch of stuff about this movie, but there's a guy who has to chop his pinky finger off to save face for the family, as happens so often in Yakuza media. And it's the first time he's ever done it. So there's a lady there, an older lady who has been around the Yakuza longer. And she's like, I know how to do it. And they're all the men gather around and they're like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And she's like, you got to do it like this. You put your finger, you do it like this. And the guy's like, all right, let me do it. And he does it. And then obviously, screams in pain and recoils and everyone like freaks out. And, they have to present the finger to an opposing Yakuza family's like mob boss as like an apology for something that happened, but the finger gets lost in the shuffle when he cuts it off. Oh, no. And so everyone's like scrambling around. They're like, where did it go? Where did it go? So it's a bunch of people looking for the fingertip that got cut off. And then eventually they found that that it flew into the yard and a chicken stole.
Oh no!
Oh my God. Yeah,
so
that's so Yakuza.
There is a little bit of that Yakuza flair in there. This movie's from 1973 as well.
Would you say these movies are like somewhat like not historically accurate, maybe, but like sort of, I don't know, grounded in that way?
Yes. That's kind of what's so interesting about it, is that it has that origin in a real like longitudinal interview that a journalist did with a real Yakuza, is that a lot of the sort of like petty dramas that happen between these Yakuza families and the initiation rituals and sort of the types of conflicts that happen feel very grounded and realistic. And the other thing is, I think that the setting of this is probably the most fascinating thing about it, because the Yakuza games are more contemporary. The Yakuza games, Frank, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but 0 is the farthest back and it's the 80s, right?
Well, not counting the samurai stuff.
Yeah, so Ishin is the exception. But there's this takes place directly after World War II. And so what's interesting about it is, I think it starts in 46 or 47. So the opening makes it very clear. The opening shot of the film is a real still photograph of an atomic bomb explosion of the mushroom cloud. So
does it have the logo superimposed on it?
I think it might, or the titles. Okay. Yeah,
because it just says that on Wikipedia, and I saw that. I was like, that's so hard.
It's the hardest opening.
Oh my God.
And then it gets way crazier in things I won't describe on this podcast for the listener's sake. But the interesting power dynamic of this post-war Japan is so fascinating, because it's sort of like, usually in Yakuza media, you have all the Yakuza warring sort of like factions, and then you'll have there's like all the Yakuza families, and there's like the Chinese mob and the Korean mob and all these things. And then there's the police as like the sort of overarching, like, don't piss off the police, like, it's not an honor thing. It's just like it makes sense. Like if you kill a cop, the whole family's going down. In this, because it's directly post-war, it's occupied post-war Japan. And so the Yakuza and the Japanese police are both sort of this lower rung, and above them are American GIs who are sort of like, running rampant and doing whatever the fuck they want. And so the opening is a conflict between future Yakuza and these American GIs who are harassing a local woman. And the police show up, and instead of being like, what are you doing? They're like, don't fuck with the GIs. Like, you're going to bring down the hammer on us. And then the military police show up. And so there's this sort of like 4-tiered power structure thing of occupied Japan that complicates the whole
weird.
Yakuza thing. And it's really, really interesting. It adds a really interesting wrinkle to the story, having it set in that time period.
This may be a complete out of nowhere connection, but is there any connection? There has been so much of the, Seven Samurai and then, the American Westerns, like the co-opting of Asian cinema to the West. There's that new Paul Thomas Anderson movie coming out, One Battle After Another. Is there any? Do you know if there's any connection between that and this? Because I think it's a similar thing of like, it's not like organized crime, but it's like rungs of power in a power vacuum sort of state. I think it's set in like future America or something like that.
Interesting.
I might be making a big reach here, but I think I'm sensitive to like what's the American version of this.
Yeah,
that has been co-opted or whatever.
I remember watching the trailer for this. I feel like this might be a little different. I feel like the equivalent would be something more like Goodfellas or I don't. Although I think, when was the Mario Puzo Godfather novel written? I think it might predate. Yes, that was the 60s, 69, and the original.
I
think they're both just like drawing upon criminal undergrounds that are
right.
But I would be shocked if the two genres hadn't borrowed from each other. If this wasn't informed by sort of like American Italian mob stuff and back and forth.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting. And the other thing I'll mention is that the influence is not only just like, clearly Nagoshi saw these movies. They're incredibly famous. And also there's like the protagonist, Hiroto Shozo, feels very much like a slightly different flavor of Kiryu character. This is sort of the most interesting difference between American mob movies and Yakuza movies, is that in American mob movies, the protagonist is usually not like, I'm the one honorable mobster. It's that like there is a pretense of like, oh, it's about like protected the family, and like there is that, but everyone knows that it's like kind of bullshit. Like the honor thing is like, they're like, we're honorable men, and it's like, I just saw you stuff a man in your trunk who was innocent, and it's just like a kind of a wink and a nod thing. In the Yakuza movies that I've seen, there often is a protagonist who is sort of like the one guy who adheres to the code, and around him are all these people who are in sort of like moral decay, and he's like, he emerges victorious because he's the only one who's like, if you gotta kill me, you gotta kill me, because like I'm the one true Yakuza. And I think that's a really interesting thing, is like having a Yakuza who is morally virtuous, because they were sort of like these Robin Hood figures in a lot of media around that time. But the connection with the Yakuza games is not just tropes. They're also, some of the actors in these movies voice acted in the Yakuza games as well.
Oh,
nice.
cool.
So I was going down a real rabbit hole reading about that. But anyway, Battles Without Honor and Humanity. Don't watch it with your family, and heavy trigger warning. It's fucked up.
Nice.
It's very
if
good.
you've rinsed all the Yakuza games and are looking for some awesome, origin texts or other things, this is seems like a good thing to dive into.
Yeah, take notes as well. It's there's 1,000 characters.
Oh, funny.
I was gonna say the one big notable thing too. It's the same director as Battle Royale. So if you've seen that,
Oh, crazy.
Shit, is it
wow.
really?
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Holy
Just the
fuck.
first one or the whole series?
Yeah.
Of
And
them?
then he like died, and I think his son made this. The sequel of Battle Royale is bad.
No. The first one of this
Oh, sorry,
series,
sorry.
or
He directed
do
all
all
of
of
the Battles Without Honor and Humanity films.
oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, he
His
also
son did Battle Royale too. That's crazy.
That's nuts.
I
I,
like
did
Battle
not
Royale
know the
too.
Battle Royale connection.
That's wild.
Yeah, he also did he did like an adaptation of a Yukio Mishima play and like a bunch of other stuff too. So very famous director.
Nice. The games we talked about this week were numerous, mostly Silksong, Road to Empress, Cronos, New Dawn, Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, for the most part, and a couple of other ones thrown in there. Davy X Jones, Mortal Sin, and Vital Shell as well. I think that covered all the game stuff. We've got some emails here, Frank, before we round this one out.
Yeah, we got a lot of emails and messages. If you'd like to have your email read on the show, be sure to send us a letter to podcast@noclip.video.
Electric letter.
Podcasts at noclip.video or in our Discord and the Patreon podcast chat channel. James sent an email and said, while me and my wife were in the U.S. recently, we found ourselves in Las Vegas, and while there, we spent a whole day visiting all the spots from Fallout New Vegas. When we got home from the trip, our time has since been spent playing the game over and over so we could visit the places we had just seen in the U.S. The same thing happened with The Division for the atmosphere and sites we've seen in New York City during a Christmas trip, and Fallout 3 for Washington, D.C. a few years ago. I'm wondering if there are any games you guys have played that after you visit a place, do the memories that you have are the fondness for that location, or just games you play to bring back good memories of a visit to somewhere you were fond of?
Hell yeah. This is like my favorite thing to do. My last ever GameSpot video was going to New York and basically just looking at all of the places I could find from GTA 4. Obviously, first time I ever went to America, my first night I went down, there was it was like for a Call of Duty event, and they had a big press party thing, and I decided not to go to that and instead go down to Venice Beach so I could check out the skate area and all that stuff. Yeah, God. I mean, when Watch Dogs 3, which is the one that's in the Bay Area. 2, sorry. There is no 3.
No, there is. I figured you would not be excited to go to London.
What was 3 again? Oh, it was. Oh God, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. The Getaway was a London one. I remember that was pretty cool. Watch Dogs 2 though was like Lake Merritt in Oakland, which I lived beside at the time, so that was kind of cool. Almost my apartment was almost in there. What about you guys? I love doing this stuff. Yeah, for sure. This is like my favorite thing to do. I'm going to be doing it for I better not say that. If you're a patron, listen to this month's Patron show and you'll find out about the unannounced doc that I will be doing this for later this year.
I only started doing more traveling recently, so like getting to places for the first time wasn't something I could like have a nostalgia for. But the only thing I can think of that made me feel that sort of way was sort of in reverse. I have not been to California yet. I'm sure when I do, I will see the Watch Dogs 2 locations and be like, I've been here before. I took all the pictures. But it's so stupid. Call of Duty, I can't remember which one. It might be World War 3 or not World War 3. Sorry. Modern Warfare 3. There's like a scene where you're on a bridge in Amsterdam. And
funny. Cool.
When we went to Amsterdam for our honeymoon, I was like, babe, hold on. I know we're in one of the most beautiful, interesting places on earth. I just have to go take a picture at this bridge. And I set up the shot and everything the way that scene starts. And I was like, this is weirdly cool. It's like I've been here before, but I haven't. So I have more of a reverse thing than going somewhere and having nostalgia for it after the fact.
Yeah, specifically for the Japan video, I edited like 3 different montages of Osaka and all the Yakuza locations, Akihabara. That's all I keep doing in Japan is like every site is so specific. But literally on this last trip, I specifically went to Osaka just because of Yakuza. And yeah, as soon as I was there, it was like, holy crap. Like it was 10,000%. There were so many sites specifically in Dotonbori. And now it's like, well, I want to go. There's a tiny ass city where Shenmue takes place. That whole, the entire Shenmue map is there. It would be insane to go to Okinawa. That's where Yakuza 3 is. Like there's so many more. Yakuza 5 goes all around the country. I want to go to Fukuoka. Like there's so many. I want to go to Hokkaido. So there's more parts of Japan. I can't think of anything outside Japan that
I was me and my wife are finally watching the second season of The Last of Us, and we were obviously up there for PAX, and I was telling her about when we were in PAX, I was like, oh, this is in the game, this part's in the game, like all that sort of stuff, because obviously Seattle's a big character in that game. And a lot of that game is like straight up like, oh, there's the convention center, like it's almost one-to-one, that little downtown area with all the crazy highways and stuff.
First time I visited San Francisco, I had played Tony Hawk previously and was, recognizing the wharf and stuff. The layout is me and my brother were just obsessed with being like, this is a little different. Like the map.
Where
is
are the
like,
letters?
Yeah, we couldn't find skate.
The Embarcadero doesn't take 20 minutes to skateboard up like it does in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
To get to the Sea Lions. Thanks, James.
And then Connor wrote in, games that introduce you to a genre. This year, I started playing Abiotic Factor, the survival crafting game set inside a very Black Mesa-esque facility.
Yeah.
Despite not normally being a survival crafting game fan, this game has quickly become one of my favorites of the year, and has me looking at the genre more widely. I also remember picking up XCOM Enemy Unknown back in 2012 and learning what I did. In fact, that I like turn-based strategy games. My question is, what are some games that introduced you to a genre, specifically games that made you understand a genre that you didn't previously like in a way you hadn't before?
I'm trying to look it up so I can find it. I can't. It's Squeak Cross. I love.
Is this Picross?
Yes, I love puzzle games. I had never gotten into Picross. I wanted to for a long time, and I never playing those games. Like, they didn't have great tutorials to sort of onboard you slowly. It was kind of like, here's the mechanics, go solve some puzzles. That one is the first one that made me get it, which is crazy because
This is weird. It's like
it's half an Animal Crossing game where you play as a rat and you get to decorate your house with the stuff that you solve the puzzles from. It's such a cool setup for the thing. Like, if you don't just like doing puzzles and you want something, a reward from that.
Wait, did this only come out like recently? It only came out like last month or 2 months ago. You've been playing Picross games longer than that.
There was a demo for, I want to say, 2 Next Fests ago, so it would have been probably around when I started. And yeah, I have been hopelessly addicted ever since. That game is a great introduction if you've ever wanted to play those specific kinds of puzzles. They're very fun.
I feel like this is half the thing that From was doing with their games, where they were like, some people don't like this weird shit. Let's make a Victorian gun one of these, or let's make a samurai one of these. And then people would go back and play a bunch of them. Yeah, I'm trying to think. This has definitely been. I mean, I feel like XCOM is one that people bring up a lot, where like they didn't realize that they'd like turn-based stuff because so much of it seems really like it has a big barrier to entry on it. I know Poker Night at the Infantry got me to understand the rules of poker, and then I like card games because of that. So that helped. I just needed the heavy alongside me.
I had played tactics RPGs before, but I definitely the ones that I liked were sort of the exception to the rule. That I was like, I like sort of strategy games and I like RPGs, but tactics RPGs is a mix of flavors that I don't necessarily love. And I think Into the Breach was like weirdly revelatory for me. Not because it's a tactics RPG, but because the combat is such a distillation of the ideas in something like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Advance or whatever, or Ogre Battle. And yeah, it's just like unbelievably tight, and it just kind of opened my eyes to what that genre could be and made me explore more of that genre and see that was something I liked. And what I don't know. I thought it was always like, it's like, oh, that's like, why would I want to fight someone if it was like a puzzle? That sounds fucking boring. You know,
it's so funny how like we have similar tastes and stuff except for puzzles. You're like, get that shit away from me.
Same with Frank
love
too.
puzzles.
Frank's like, get puzzles out of my fucking
doing
survival
math,
horror game.
I want to get
I have
scared.
to be seduced into puzzles. Puzzle games.
Right.
A puzzle game is like someone walking up to you and being like, "Hey, you want to go make out?" I'm like, Jesus, that's a little forward. A game that has puzzles is like,
You're not a whore enough for puzzles. That's the problem.
Exactly.
the puzzle slut
Like me.
in me
Loosen
wants
up,
the
boy.
puzzles.
Puzzle slut.
But I need to have a little decorum.
Puzzle slut's my favorite subgenre.
Oh no. Puzzles. Man, that's going to be in the FMV game. That'll be the next
Oh,
one.
you're
that
right.
play.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's probably the name of a game already. Jeez.
The other genre that I got into because of a game that perhaps doesn't line up with the successful ones, Hattleful Boyfriend was the first visual novel I ever played that got me to actually play.
Man, brother.
You know, I preach it to the choir. I didn't realize that you were a pigeon lover.
I have Dr. Shu and me go way back. me and Ryota are good friends. I have played all of Hattleful Boyfriend. I have played all of Holiday Star. It was
I still have to play that one.
Holiday Star is pretty fucked up. Holiday Star, Hattleful Boyfriend gets weird. This, of course, for people who do not know, is the pigeon dating game that came out a long time ago. I streamed this at GameSpot back when I was in the UK. So this is 2011 or something. Holiday Star just starts at 100. Just
All
like
right.
it's like because it's kind of like 4 mini stories. I have a Dr. Shu plushie somewhere in this.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, my daughter knows who Dr. Shu is.
Oh my God, you're keeping the legacy alive.
Oh, Hattleful Boyfriend. I'm a big Hattleful Boyfriend. Apparently you can go to at least you could back then, the Pigeon Cafe that this game was based on. Yeah, exactly. They let you make out with these pigeons that you're dating. That are like, there is a pigeon in this game, Dr. Shu, who is basically the Eric Cartman of that game. Just an absolute psychopath who is going to destroy everything. It's good stuff. That's what got me into those hentai games, I guess. So.
Sometimes, the weirdest things start you off in your kinks. It's all good.
Exactly. I went from pigeon to human. That's to Empress now, it turns out. So
all right.
There we go. We got another email here, Frank.
Yeah, then Peter wrote in and asked about Steam refunds and morality. I use Steam's refund policy like an ice cream sample. Sometimes I try a game blindly and it becomes a lifetime favorite, like Arctic Eggs. Other times I know within 10 minutes I'll never touch it again. My friend believes that refunding a game is immoral unless the game is broken or falsely advertised, and is especially concerned for the plight of indie devs. Short of refunding a game that's very brief, what are your thoughts on the morality of Steam refunding?
I mean, well, it's there.
I don't know. I've never heard of somebody using it in this way. I guess it makes complete sense, like to use it almost like a demo.
That's what I do.
Yeah, to jump in. I don't have a problem with it. If you're taking advantage of people, I don't think anyone who I don't know, people will want to make money, but like I don't think anyone wants to trick somebody into taking their money. I don't really feel like you have anything to feel guilty about. If the process of doing this is what's leading you to buying more indie games ultimately, then it comes out in the wash. You know what I mean? Like you're doing it the right way. I feel that way too, where I feel like if I played a game I've refunded very few games. I think it's only ever if I then realized it was on Game Pass and I already owned it, or that it was on it. Like I think recently there was one that was on PlayStation. I actually wanted to play it on PlayStation, so I refunded it after playing 30 minutes. So I tend not to do that, but I hadn't ever thought about doing it in that way. For what it's worth, Steam pays out like 30 days later. And a lot of this is because of the refund thing. So it's not like you're taking money out of the developer's pocket. They're just not getting the money, is from what I understand is the way that sort of works. Yeah. So yeah, I don't see I think you know yourself if you're doing something, morality is like, people know, right? Yeah. If they're doing something shitty, if you're doing something shitty.
We're not going to judge you. You can do whatever you want.
When you return
I'll judge them if they're doing something shitty.
Sure. Oh, yeah. But in this circumstance,
this is fine.
When you return it, they give you the little note space. If it's like a game that you thought was cool, but it wasn't for you, leave them a little note. Like, don't just say like go because it gives you the drop down. You got to pick like it's not fun, and then you just return it. It's like you seem like a dick. But like I know developers read those, so like just put in like, hey, like, want to try this out? You're clearly incredibly talented. Maybe this is not the flavor that I enjoy. I wish you the best of luck. I love you.
I realized I needed $30 for food this week, so I decided against this.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Leave them a little note.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Podcast at noclip.video. And that's a podcast this week, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure to check out two of our 3 Machine Games documentaries are now live. Apparently YouTube is having some viewing problems. People were thinking there's a lot of scuttlebutt about it this week. There's a recent one from Linus Tech Tips suggesting that perhaps YouTube has just figured out a way of getting rid of idle viewers or something, maybe, or because apparently likes and everything and ad rev on people's videos, even though the view counts are down, are the same. So there's lots of confusion. Some people think it's because of the restricted mode age verification stuff. I don't know what it is. I'm just doing research. I'm doing my own research, trying to figure out what's going on. But hey, if you haven't watched our Machine Games documentary or our documentary on Wolfenstein, then go check those out. We have a 90-minute doc or something like that, doc on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming out in the next couple of weeks as well. And then we're going to be in disco times for the next little foreseeable future after that with our Disco Elysium stuff. I also wanted to mention that our friends over at Archipel are kickstarting a Yoko Taro book. They've interviewed Yoko Taro a couple of times. There is a book on Kickstarter called The Worlds of Yoko Taro, with the L in worlds in square brackets. It looks like it should meet its goal. It's got 352 backers. It's got 16,000 of 33,000, I think. Archipel are a fantastic group of video producers in Japan that record really outstanding documentaries, not just about game developers, but also about artists. Predominantly, I feel like in the field of sort of manga, anime as well, and games as well. I believe they are both French, I think. The producer, I forgot. I've only talked to them a couple of times over the years. We sort of are quite simpatico because Archipel and Noclip are very similar in the things that we find are important and the work that we like to do. Their work is really gorgeously shot and curated, and they do great work. A lot of their videos are shorter than the type of stuff we do, but they're incredibly well produced. So yeah, if you're a fan of Yoko Taro, you're a fan of Archipel, I wanted to mention it. That you can pick it up. It looks fairly reasonable. You can get like a digital version for $21 or the physical version for $34. It says here 5,000 yen, and that's all they're doing. They're not doing 1,000,001 different versions of this. So yeah, if you support game documentary makers or game history, or you're a big fan of Yoko Taro's work, then head over to that. Jesse, if you don't mind sticking a link in the description, that'd be awesome.
You got it. I already have it open here. It sounds awesome.
It looks cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks great.
And just Archipel are like, they have such a great eye that I'm like, oh, this book is going to look great. Like, it's going to gorgeous photographs and great interviews in it. So
can't wait to see the art. And also, if you go on the Kickstarter page, you can scroll down and see a picture of Yoko Taro sitting in a bathtub, staring at a picture of I don't know who, but perhaps a Japanese actress. I'm not
with the head on. I'm guessing.
Well, of course. I mean, who showers without their mask on?
You're right. Excerpt from our 2017 video portrait. Yeah, there you go. Like they've already interviewed Yoko Taro in the past as well, I know. So this is cool though. This is, I've always wanted to figure out the whole book thing. Like, I think it'd be cool to put out a book, a no-clip book. Books are confusing. They're like videos with paper.
What do you understand? Words?
What's this whole
turn
book
the pages? What?
thing? Yeah, I don't
Made
get
out
it.
of trees?
Where are the buttons?
Yeah. I want to do like a 10th where the buttons. Oh, that's true. We should do like a 10th anniversary book that's like playable.
We should do one of those Chinese visual novels.
Yes, yeah.
But it's just you, and we'll do the like really.
Should we do that?
same.
That's you say that, but that's the type of thing that's going to get me to make a game. If we can,
I'm friends with models in Japan. I know. Look, I'm not kidding. We got
me and
Peach Milky.
We'll get you in there.
Look, I don't need you. I'm Irish. Peach Milky's Irish. We've already got the common ground. That's all you need. So I know if we were secretly, or not secretly, but in the back of my head, the way it's always like people are like, oh, we can call on them if we need something. Peach Milky's always been there. Peach Milky can do the job. So I'm like, that you're right. But also, if there's like an engine, there's got to be an engine for these, but maybe not for video. Video is really tricky. Video playback in video games is weirdly tricky. It's why like people do like Bink video and stuff. They like get middleware to do this stuff. I think it's because of like frame rates and run cycles and stuff like that it can be awkward or whatever. I want to do that. Could we find an engine?
I'll do it in Unity. I'll code it.
Yeah, I don't think any engine doesn't have a video playback thing. Godot has it.
I'm just a fucking Luddite over here. I'm just trying to do it in C# and it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should do that. We should make a little no-clip game. We should make it like No-Clip's Christmas Adventure, and it's only like a 1-hour game. But
That'd be very funny.
Well, good thing a guy who could do that.
It's a secret ending where I'm just riding the goat around or something. That'd be good.
Just
what do you mean?
free.
Who do I know that could do that? Jeremy?
Who could make a video game? Yeah, Jeremy Jane, our good friend.
I could do that. I got one in the works. As long as I can't do 2 games with netcode at the same time. But as long as it's a single player
FMV game. Is that what you're asking for?
That would be sick, actually. If you're competing for the affections of the same Chinese woman.
Princess. What would a multiplayer FMV game look like?
You would have to play whoever just watches the videos fastest is, they're racking up the affection points, and it's like.
Or maybe it uses your webcam. You know what I mean?
Actually,
so you're getting projected into the other person's
I was literally about to say the exact same thing. There is a thing in Unity that lets you read a webcam input.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Put that on you would just have like an untextured sphere on as like the head. It would just be your face.
That could be our like Psycho Mantis moment. You know what I mean? Where like suddenly you're in the game, like your webcam turns on, you're like, shit.
That is a funny thing is like I've always thought about how you would sort of like Trojan horse that, because you would need to introduce the idea that there needed to be a webcam on and plugged in. But then as soon as you heard that, you'd be like, oh, there's like a webcam thing that happens, Yeah,
but what if, so here's the way you do it. At the start, you signal the like webcam thing, like, oh, we're going to use your webcam, and then never use it. Because they're just going to be freaked out the whole fucking time.
That's
like they're
true.
being watched.
That's true.
Right?
Or you do
just count how many times they blinked. throughout the entire play.
You make the light turn on. You know what I mean? You don't use it in anything.
That's fucked up.
You just make the light on the fucking webcam turn on, and it's just like the code is just like initiating the webcam, but it's not actually going anywhere. It's just like that'd be good.
That would
really,
scare
like,
the shit
freak
out of
people
me.
out.
If my webcam turned on while I was playing a game, that would scare the fuck out of me in like in a real visceral way that I wouldn't like. But that'd be cool.
Or at a certain point, just to freak people out, you just play the Windows shutdown music. It's like
turn the screen off.
All right, Daniel Mullins.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just exactly.
I'll delete one of your files.
Yeah. Fuck. We need to make an FMV game now.
Yeah, man.
No.
Let's do it.
It should be an FMV game about interviewing developers, and we should get
that's
Hugo.
great.
Dude, I was thinking of making a mock game
That'd
like
be
that.
so good.
Yeah. I started making the interface and everything. I was like, this is a cool. That's why I have the green screen. Is because I was like filming fake developer stuff. And then halfway through, I was like, the guy who worked for Noclip can't do that. He's talking shit.
No, that's great.
Stealing pens. You stealing pens from the office.
It's about starting a Noclip like YouTube channel, and it's like a dating simulator. It starts like low level, and then you're like working your way up, to the
What if
Shiori Fujisaki? What's her name from Tokimeki? Frank Shiori Fujisaki, is that right?
Oh yeah, Shiori.
Thank you.
What if it's you sitting down to interview like Hugo Martin or somebody, but like it's like the intrusive thoughts. You have to fight the intrusive thoughts. So like the three questions you can ask are like, how did you guys figure out the design of the weapons in Doom the Dark Age, like the shield? Or, what's it like working on a third game in this series? Or fuck you. Oh, you can. You just have to constantly avoid the intrusive thought. And that's
what's
experience.
going through your head when you're doing an interview? You're just like, I really want to say fuck you so bad. But
the buttons are moving around the screen too. So you're like trying to click on the right one.
Or you're just trying desperately to remember the last question because this is your fourth interview of the day and your brain has turned to mush.
I think
we have it, Jeremy. We got it, Jeremy. I think we have it, Jeremy.
I've been taking notes. I think we got most of this. I'll just ask fucking some AI to do the rest.
Sorry for dropping a C-bomb on. I hope your children weren't listening, everyone. But that's art, Sometimes it just comes at you.
Amen.
Noclip 2, folks. YouTube.com/@Noclip2. Patreon.com/Noclip 2. If you want to be part of this weird new project endeavor on our part. It's been a long time coming. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast, funding our docs, and everything else. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week with more video games. Bye.